How's it going, my lovely death disciples? I am the Shattered Reaper, and today we are going to continue our... apparently it's just reading over the childhood's end. Anyway, so last we left off in the life and suffering of Brante, the blessed times of the fall of the Archaean Empire. I think that's how it's pronounced. We had just undergone our final sacrament in our childhood along with Nathan, and we had refused to accept the whip. We had caught it, and we had shown ourselves that we are willing to resist against the lot of suffering that we were born to be brought to. And so, in doing so, we kind of infuriated our parents a little bit, but I was able to make sure that the family was unified, and in the end I did also suffer my first death. Because my grandfather is an extremely petty asshole, and despite that, we are now going to be heading into our adolescence, and we have this kind of personality. So we have an active determination, we are very inquisitive with a perception of 5, and we are extremely exhausted in willpower, and we have died once. So basically, the way we could put this is that we are the kind of anime character that is extremely tired on the outside and is just done with everything, but at the same time is willing to do what is being asked of him, and also is more intelligent than one perceives. So, I'd probably say Kisuke Urahara is probably the best anime comparison I could think of with, or, why am I forgetting, the name of the number 1 Espada, that guy as well. I don't know why I forgot his name, but basically those two guys are the best comparisons I can think of for what I made this character to be. And I find that interesting. So anyway, with that thought in mind, let's go ahead and see what our adolescence will look like and what things we come across during this period of our life. Okay, there we go.
I was growing up fast. The school, the streets, and the whole wide world awaited me beyond the gate of my parents' house.
Alright, let's see what you got for me, life. Let's see what you can throw at me this time, twin gods. Anyway, why don't we go ahead and check out a few of our other stuff, if we can. Okay, so I can't select any of those. Okay, there we go. Now it's away. Okay, you've lived in this world for 8 years now. As you grow older, life grows more complex. The world of your childhood was limited to your house and family, but now that realm is expanding. It also includes your neighborhood, the nearby houses, the streets of the ancient city of Anizote. A question now looms over you, growing more pressing with each passing year. What will your place be in this vast outside world? Few people in the blessed Archaean Empire trouble themselves with this question. It's not within a man or woman's power to choose. Their destiny is predetermined by their birth and those who bore them. And yet your peculiar birth has granted you a choice. Your father is a man of nobility, a worthy example in matters of duty and honor. Your mother is a commoner of lowly estate, humility and patience made flesh, and your sky is ablaze day and night with the light of the shining pillar, the beacon of the clergy. Your back bears the mark of the lash. Will you accept the drudgery and suffering that is the lot of the lowborn for your entire life? Or will you follow in the footsteps of your father and your father's father and fight for the right to serve the Empire as a noble of the mantle? Perhaps will you follow the twin gods' word and offer spiritual guidance to others? The answer lies out there in that vast, terrifying world. What awaits you beyond the walls of your home? Well, it is whatever the goddess of chaos wants. Anyway, before we continue on with this chapter, why don't we go ahead and take a look at some things. Okay, so this is the map of the Empire, something we had never actually gotten before. So Eterna is the capital of the blessed Archaean Empire. This ancient and beautiful city was built upon the shores of 3 rivers. By the Emperor's own order, Eterna houses the Imperial College and the Military Academy, which provide opportunities for commoners to become nobles of the mantle through service and valor, as well as the Divine Seminary. Eterna is the place where Archnean tradition, architecture, and fashion have always reigned supreme, but the influx of human nobles and wealthy merchants is slowly changing the way of life in the capital. And Pragos, the shining pearl of the north. Pragos is the capital of the only large city in the province of Fiona. Built by the order of the Emperor's own brother Cornelius Tempus, this city has attracted many people of the northern provinces who abandoned their meager lands. The citizens of Pragos are known to be loyal to Cornelius Tempus and his laws. So this is kind of making me think of the Holy Roman Empire in a sense. Like, they are under one law, under one emperor, but in a sense it's sort of run by minor nobles as well for each of the capital cities. So, or maybe it's just a feudal system in something like that. Northern provinces of Fiona, Constanta, and Hermia. The stern and inhospitable lands of the north, they were populated by barbarian heathens until the great Archnean warriors of the past came to eradicate them. I'm more interested in these barbarian heathens and their fates than I am of the one I have to deal with. I mean, you know, considering I am a heathen, after all. The northern provinces are governed by the Emperor's own Tempus dynasty. The provinces are very sparsely populated, with few factories or trading posts. Fishing is the main trade here. The locals say you could see the very peak of the shining pillar looming above the sea when the skies are clear. Siltram, the personal domain of the Emperor's own Tempus dynasty. Known by all as the most beautiful castle in the Empire, it keeps its gate closed to all but the most exalted Archneans and humans. Now again, are Archneans and humans different races or species in this game? I wonder why there's the distinction. Archnea, the birthplace of the Empire and every Archnean dynasty owned by the Emperor himself. The province with the most bountiful soil, Archnea abounds in ancient castles, green fields, and towering forests. Sprawling cities and factories are virtually non-existent here. No Archnean dynasty would ever let such massive human-built structures disfigure the demesne of their ancestors. The only place in the province teeming with life and the spirit of the new age is Eterna, the capital of the Empire. Ooh, I like that. I like that this place gets to basically be a national forest. I love that. Montis, the capital of Monia province and the most well-defended citadel in the Empire. Montis is commonly known as the pillar of the old Archnean knightly spirit and is the site of many a great tournaments. Archduke Monrogue, like other Monrogues before him, boasts that the walls of Montis will survive any siege. Well, we'll have to see about that now, won't we, when things start to take a turn for the worst. The Bastion Monia, the bastion of the Archnean aristocracy, protected from the rest of the Empire by the sea and a mountain ridge. It is the second oldest province of the Empire. Here, the noble traditions of Yore are the strongest, and the lowly lot is denied all freedom save those they absolutely require. Ouch. The Monroe dynasty conquered Monia long ago and now reigns supreme in this impregnable province. Kinda sounds terrible. Garcia. The sea gate of Monia, Garcia is the only safe haven among the province's rocky shores. Well fortified and dangerous, the haven will accept no visiting ships without permission from the Monroe dynasty. Elaria, the strongest industrial province of the Empire, ruled over by the Orgriff dynasty. The noble landowners of Illyria lease out their land to the commoners to build new factories and mines, a practice that continues to this day. Illyria was the birthplace of gunpowder and the firearms that employ it before the noble estate banned its use across the empire as weapons of dishonor. Well then, perhaps maybe an opportunity might just rise out of this banning of firearms then. I mean, I do understand it, but at the same time, how low you have decided to set progress for. Cleonis, the capital of Illyria, this sprawling industrial city is the home of scientists and inventors of all stripes, often called the city of freethinkers. Cleonis is governed by a lesser quorum. The ruling Archnean dynasty of the province hardly ever visits the area. Kupfer, the most well-defended fortress in the south of Illyria. It belongs to the great Archnean Orgriff dynasty. Serpenverda, a castle in the middle of the Magran waste that serves as the family seat of the great Melanides dynasty, the Archdukes of the province. It is the most impregnable and well-defended fortress in the south. Lots of impregnable and most well-defended places, I see. Solmina, a large prosperous village in the east of Magra. It has accrued considerable wealth thanks to the numerous silver mines in the nearby hills. Many Solminian commoners have grown rich and joined the new faith. Oh? The new faith? Is that supposed to be different from the faith of the twin gods now? I'm curious. Magra. The last to join the empire, the southern province of Magra is an arid wasteland ruled by Archduke Melanides. During Tsar Melanides' rebellion, this land was devastated by foul magic and rendered infertile. Local peasants now grow their crops in soil imported from other regions. The hills and mountains of Magra are blessed with silver, iron, and coal. Cursed by magic, they say. Huh. Orta. Once a mere outpost of the Empire in its nascent years, the fortress of Orta was built to fight off the heathens. It is the founding place of the Holy Order and contains their citadel and headquarters. When the Empire united all the lands of the realm, Orta grew into a city of considerable size. Astinia, the heart of the Empire. Astinia is a province of bountiful harvests. This land is the main stronghold of the new faith, where commoners and nobles alike follow the new doctrine. This land is ruled by the old Archnean Diamant dynasty, but only Patriarch Junius Diamant, the Archduke's elder brother and leader of the church in the province, wields actual authority in Astinia. Okay, maybe I'm not so inclined to want to be a part of the new faith, but I do still want to learn more about it and what it's all about. Eneri, the headquarters of Imperial Overseer Gaius Tempest. Castle Eneri itself, as well as the village around it and the adjacent tracts of land, belonged to the Melanides dynasty until Gaius Tempest was appointed the province overseer in the Archduke's stead. Thanks to its vast farmland, nourished with imported fertile soil, Castle Eneri grows its own provisions and maintains independence from the rest of Magra. Fabrin, the second largest city in Magra and a place of industry. Fabrin was the original capital of the province before the appearance of the Silver Tree. There is a common saying, a man from Fabrin and a man from Anizote will never see eye to eye. Tuono, a noble estate with a small village. It currently has no owner. It was formerly owned by the El Merce bloodline before their blood tide ran dry. According to the ancient tradition, the Archduke of Magra will grant Tuono to the next bloodline to be ennobled by the sword. Oh, I see why Grandfather was interested in being a noble of the sword then. Could have gotten Tuono. Valona, a city that is home to the largest monastery in the province of Magra. Founded in commemoration of the final unity of all the lands in the Empire, the monastery of Valona is the second most popular destination for pilgrims after the Silver Tree. The monastery's monks are famed throughout the Empire for their healing skills. And finally, our home in Anazote, the city of your birth and the capital of the arid province of Magra. It is the largest and most ancient city in the south of the Empire. Anizote is home to the Silver Tree, a sacred landmark grown by the twins when they descended to the mortal realm. The old prophecies say that Anizote is where the end of the world will begin. Well, that's kind of morbid. Okay, and the province. So, Overseer Archduke Melanides, Patriarch Photis, power -4, Overseer in the power, or Overseer in power. The church has -4 and is a old faith. Wealth of Magra, security, 6, and order. It is peaceful in 8. Okay, so that's interesting. That's interesting to know. Destiny, what have we got? So we've got Gloria's secret. You discover the secret society. Your sister Gloria's joined. Stefan's disgrace. Ha! In your face, bitch. Wait, Brothers Forbidden Love. Oh. Blood Tide. You join the blood tide of the Brante family. Participate in the ritual, nobleman's sacrament. Gregor Brante, greater than 2. Nathan's admonition. Your younger brother Nathan Brante receives a spiritual admonition from you. Spirituality more than 4. Matters of the heart. You experience your first romantic feelings. Oh, and I have to meet a girl? Ugh. Well, then I probably would have ended up in the same situation as Stefan. I mean, I wouldn't mind, but, you know. Oh well, I suppose whatever Volker Brante wants, and it's not up to me to decide how he should be. But let's see. Occupation growing up, had 1 death. Okay, so now I have different ones, so I could be mundane. I have now spirituality, ingenuity, and nobility. Nobility represents how noble your thoughts and deeds are in your pursuit of the honorable ideals of the nobleman. It affects your chances of becoming a noble of the mantle and future skills that are crucial for the noble estate. Ingenuity represents how quick-witted you are and how skillfully you can manipulate a situation to your own end. It affects your ability to survive without the privileges of nobility and future skills that are crucial for a commoner. So far I am slow, but I only just started out. And spirituality, your aspiration to unlock the mysteries of creation and explore the divine in the mortal world, the people around you and yourself. It affects your ability to become a priest and future skills crucial for the clergy. Okay, and I'm still exhausted with my willpower, but I can make that better, so that's something. And House of Brante, we currently have a tarnished honor. So, not in the best situation, obviously. Wealth 5, we have moderate means, and we do have a very peaceful sense of unity within the family. And that is our family tree, still kind of the same, except with the addition of Nathan Brante. And relations, you have no relations yet. What about with my family? Okay, fine. Anyway, let's continue on, shall we? Let's see, matters of the heart, revelation of the tree. You experience a revelation by the sacred silver tree, get an epiphany, experience the revelation. So those are the conditions. And Sophia saved. You saved the local girl named Sophia from lesser death. Oh. Okay, so that's probably where the matter of the heart would be, but at the same time, we'll see. Your personal qualities at this age, they determine which choices you may take. So, basically, this is the part that decides, am I going to be a nobleman, am I going to be a commoner, or am I going to be a priest? Relation screen is now available, province screen is now available, map of the empire screen is now available, which I did just learn about. Went on a huge spiel on getting through the lore, because I just love lore so much. Let's see what we got here. The year is 1126. I wonder how we're measuring these timelines. Is it the same as in our world where we just decide that it has to be based on some guy named Jesus, which he probably isn't even the only one who claimed to be the Messiah, because he wasn't. There are probably many people who claimed themselves to be Jesus. I don't know. I do not understand humans and the way they decide to work this timeline in this world. The boy down the street. The family expects more and more of you as you grow up. The teachers and tutors hired by your father keep you on your toes all the time. Your life these days is dedicated to studying for your future, for the future of the Brante family. Your younger brother Nathan keeps growing up too. He can hold a conversation now. You never refuse him when it comes to play, provided you have a bit of free time between your demanding lessons. It is a rainy day today. Father and mother have gone to a ball, and they left Nathan in your care. You lose track of time over the books in the sitting room, and Nathan goes off alone to splash in the creek. Soon you hear his voice begging you to come outside. He's on the porch sobbing and all covered in dirt. You walk up to him as he continues to bawl. It's all that kid. He pushed me into the ditch and called me names. He said I was a fancy pants fool. I said I'll call my brother and he's still here. I said I'll call my brother. He's still there. You have to go punish him, Volker. Nathan points at a lopsided wooden house further down the street where the poorer artisans live. You see 2 boys lingering there on the porch. They are clearly both commoners, but far from poor. One of them is almost as tall as Nathan, and he frowns in a funny way, just like him. The other looks older, almost your age, but he is more broad-shouldered and taller. His name is Thomas. You've heard it before. There, Volker. That's him. Nathan points at the younger boy and hides behind your back. Thomas grins and rolls up his sleeves to reveal strong forearms. He must have been helping his father with manual labor for quite some time. Listen up, rich boys. We don't give a damn about you or your friendship. We don't let nobody call our home a stinking rat hole. Your little brother here earned his ditch dive. Maybe next time he'll dress normal and stop picking fights with people who can throw him in the mud. Your hands clench into fists before you react. Nathan called them names first. No wonder they did the same. That's how it goes. But pushing your brother into a ditch is too much. Thomas stands tall and confident. He sees no threat in you. You are about to get ready for a fight when you feel a tug on your sleeve. You turn your head to see Nathan, the one who started the whole mess. Well, unfortunately, I can't listen to my brother first. Because he's not grateful. Because I haven't had much chance to be able to get to know him much, or talk with, or interact with him much. Come at Thomas and give him a beating, you simply have to teach that jerk a lesson. Say your brother is to blame. He did call them names first. You do your best to reason with Thomas and avoid a fight. I'm gonna resolve the matter peacefully. This quarrel can be resolved peacefully. You turn to Thomas and offer to solve the problem like adults. His brother will apologize to Nathan, and Nathan will apologize to him in return. There's no need to fight anymore, and you will give Nathan a piece of your mind when you get home. You and Thomas are all grown up and should act your age, you say. The blood rushes to Thomas's face when he hears this. Act our age, you say? Are you calling me a baby? You better shut your trap. This is all he says before he attacks. You barely dodge a fist flying at your face. You start trading blows, huffing and puffing with rage. The younger brothers gawk and awe at the sight. Thomas does not resort to any fancy moves, dirty tricks, or stupid taunts. He displays nothing but skill earned in many a street fight, and his heavy fists aim for your head. You keep dodging him again and again, trying to reach him. He takes a couple of glancing blows, but easily shakes them off. What a bruiser. You start swinging your fists with greater and greater fury. Your heart is pounding like a hammer. You see nothing but the foe in front of you. How much longer will this take? You're worn out. Your breath grows ragged and your muscles grow heavy. But there's no way you can give up now. Nathan is watching you. Desperate and out of options, you swing and punch Thomas square in the nose, and immediately let his fist smack you in the temple. The blow rings through your head like a bell and blinds you for a moment. The world swims before your eyes. You clutch at your head to get your bearings. Thomas is standing in front of you, blood dripping from his nose. You no longer want to fight it out, and it seems your opponent would rather end it too. But you keep standing there, eyeing each other angrily. Then suddenly you hear an angry shout right next to you. An enraged man in a craftsman's apron is shaking his fist. Thomas's face contorts into terror right away. It's my father! Run! The punishment for fighting is flogging, and the mere prospect of that makes you run like the wind. Thomas sprints in front of you. You dash across the rotten wooden planks of the back alley, up and over a lopsided fence, across a giant puddle in one leap, and then forward into the tall grass. You hide there and stay quiet. You hear no sounds of pursuit. You exchange glances with Thomas and start laughing. His laughter is loud and infectious, but soon he cuts it short and grows sadder. I'm gonna get flogged anyways. My dad's always quick to give me a beating, and then he'll start nagging me about the lots and the prayers for days like he always does. I always get myself mixed up in this stuff. Fighting's the only way to prove you're worth anything, right? The adults didn't see you fighting, you tell them, so all you have to do now is convince them you weren't. Nosebleeds happen, right? And Mother gets nosebleeds all the time. Well, we could try it. Let's hope our little brothers don't tell on us. I'll talk to mine. There's a scratch in your head, don't let them see it. Good thing I didn't hit you in the face. There, good as new. You assure him that Nathan will never tell, and in return, you'll make sure he behaves himself so he won't get tossed into a ditch again. With that, you shake hands with Thomas. His handshake is as strong as you would expect based on his face. You make your way out of the tall grass and need to leave before Thomas's father goes to your family and complains about you breaking your law. You come to a realization on the way back you had no idea the place where you were hiding even existed, and it wasn't too far from home. Thomas smiles in excitement when he hears this. Oh, I know lots of places like that. I'll tell you what, if we get out of this mess today, I'll show you the way to the old fortress wall. It's the perfect place to build your own fort. I dragged a bunch of wooden planks there. Too bad it's no fun to build all alone. My brother never helps. He just gets in the way. You emerge from the muddy back alleys. Oh, we get a +1 relation with Thomas. You emerge from the muddy back alleys and united by a secret only the two of you know. Seems you made a friend today. That's sometimes how it be. You make a friend after throwing a few fists here and there. Spirituality +1. Huh. I had no idea that getting into a fight would mean more spirituality. Thought it was gonna get nobility for trying to resolve it peacefully. You have made a friend, a boy named Thomas. Met Thomas. The year is 1127. Riders on the road. It is blistering hot today, even for the sun-parched land of Magra. As soon as you are done with your studies, you dash outdoors and out of the stuffy room. You and Thomas roll up your shirt sleeves, but it barely helps. You would gladly go shirtless had you only been in the company of other boys. But there are 3 girls in the yard today. They are doing the laundry in a big wash tub, whispering and giggling. If you could, you would gladly keep watching one of them at work. She has big eyes and deep blue. Her dark hair is braided and her plain gray dress is mended and patched all over. Her name is Sophia. She throws her head back a little when she laughs. The rays of the sun are reflected in her eyes. You, Thomas, and the other boys keep telling silly stories, anything to make her laugh. You sure love telling tall tales, Volker. Oh, I remember this one time. But then Sophia hears a voice calling her home. She nods to you and runs across the street, smiling. Her light steps carry her forward, but her eyes are looking elsewhere. But then a stone on the road catches her foot. She stumbles and falls flat into the dust. The streets start shaking from the thundering of hoofs. Riders appear on the road from around the corner. They bear a coat of arms you recognize right away. A sable serpent blade upon a field of vert. It symbolizes the Milanides dynasty, the family of your province's Archduke. The horses dash forward. A lost wooden toy on the road cracks under their hooves. They will not slow down. They are the nobles, and the rest must make way for them. Sophia is in their way, just now starting to get back on her feet. Her mother is crying for her desperately from behind the fence. You freeze in terror. Damn it! You freeze in terror. The riders surely see the girl. Are they going to stop, or are they going to trample her? In only a few moments, the beautiful girl will be toppled and trampled and crushed. I didn't think it was gonna happen this soon! Do I really have to? Is this the only thing I can do, though? Damn it, why did I have to be at -5 willpower? You stay where you are lest you get trampled too. Stand frozen by the roadside, unable to look as the cloud of dust covers the entire street. You feel as if a massive man beast whipped into a merciless frenzy has just passed you by. You hear no screams, no cracking bones, nothing but the deafening din of the hoofs. Once the horses are gone and the dust settles, you can finally see the road again and the repulsive blob of blood, flesh and bone left on it. You could still see traces of Sophia in that mess. Her dark hair, the remains of her dress, but it is no longer her. Sophia's earthly remains slowly dissipate and melt into the air. Her mother's eyes are filled with grief as she watches. She hunches over and slowly walks back into the house. You could still hear the riders far away down the road. None of them even bother to look back. Your friends walk away. At a loss for words, you make your way home, dazed by what you have seen. You are still dazed as you retell these events to Mother, unable to look up from the floor. After a moment of silence, she embraces you and calms you down. Poor girl. What a terrible, painful death. But you must know that it was not her true death. By the twins' mercy, we are all given enough time in this world. Should you die before your time, you will be brought back by their grace. For 3 times they will rescue you from a terrible fate. But the 4th death is true and final for all. Every loss of a life we were granted at our birth is a heavy blow to us, but the gods told us not to mourn a lesser death. Everybody will keep on living as though nothing has happened, even Sophia's parents. Their family is poor and they have no family crypt like we do. When the girl's soul comes back to life, her body will be reborn in the city church with all her wounds healed. Do not mourn her, my son, but thank the twin gods for their justice. I mean, at least in this case, there's more reason to actually like the twin gods, because it's like, oh, you died really early. Okay, how about we actually just fix this up and give you another chance? Unlike this world's most common god. He don't do that now, do he? You see Sophia by her house a few days later, and she looks completely fine, without so much as a scratch. The other children tell you that her parents now forbid her to leave the yard after dying such an early first death. You call out Sophia's name. She looks at you briefly, then walks back inside. Sophia never talks to you again. I literally had no option to do so. I mean, I did, but I wasn't allowed to choose it. Do I not get to have at least some willpower to make up for the fact that I did nothing there? Because you forced me to do nothing? Sophia disappeared after the terrible incident with the horses. Her friends gossip that her parents sent her off to serve a rich noble dynasty. You haven't seen each other since that day, but you still remember Sophia's eyes, the sunlight shining in them. But no matter what, life goes on. You are 10 years old now. Your studies continue and you are learning more about the land you live in. Anizote is an ancient city in an imperial province by the name of Magra. All soil in Magra was turned to ash eons ago, scorched by magic during the rebellion of Duke Shar Milanides. The magical arts are all but gone now, but the scorched earth has remained barren and infertile ever since. Since then, the entire province has lain barren, tormented by cold and scorching winds in equal measure, with few precious plants taking root on their soil. All fertile land in Magra is bought elsewhere, and brought here by an endless caravan of carts and carriages. To pay for food and soil, the cities of Magra became skilled in many trades, primarily mining and digging for metals and stone. Last fall, there was an explosion just outside the city, followed by clouds of thick smoke. The first such incident frightened the citizens, but then explosions and smoke became an everyday occurrence. Soon, everyone grew used to it. Father explained that the miners are using a new invention called gunpowder. It makes it easier for them to reach the precious stones or metals buried deep within the earth. Then, one day, a thunderous explosion rocks the city and black, billowing smoke covers the houses. People are stuck in their homes, all windows tightly shut. The air is impossible to breathe. Nathan coughs all the time. Gloria and you cough only when nobody is watching. If Mother hears it, she'll make you inhale those hot herbal vapors just like Nathan. It takes 2 days for the black smoke to disperse. People pour out onto the streets to meet their friends. Thomas is eager to share everything he knows about this incident with you. They took lots of burnt-up people to the city temple. Mom told me she was helping heal us. There are many rumors. Some claim it was the work of the beast stirred from its slumber, while others say it's the surviving witches that continue to threaten the order in the Empire with their accursed powers. Witches, you say? But as for you, you patiently wait for Father to come back home, and then you'll ask him about it. Father spends day and night working at the prefecture, while Mother spends all her time in prayer. It takes a full week for Father to finally come home, and he's almost completely spent. You muster enough courage during dinner to ask him what happened outside the city. Father raises his head, his face a bleak, weary mask, and starts muttering his proclamation. It's almost as if he doesn't see you. It's the mine outside the city. They were trying to get a vein of ore. There was an explosion. The mine caved in and the black smoke started flowing. Many workers died there. It was all because Count El Velasco, who owns the mines, wanted them to start mining that vein before they were ready. Some of the workers weren't even reborn. Perhaps the twins thought their final time had come. The prefecture had been inundated with complaints from families that have lost their breadwinners, asking the judges for help. Many people also lost their cattle to the black smoke. Count El Velasco blames gunpowder for the disaster. The prefecture and the newspaper just repeat whatever he says. But it's plain old greed and tyranny of noblemen that are to blame. Thank you! Finally! Why the welfare of our province is always paid for with commoner lives. Anyway, I did kind of realize that I forgot to, actually, this is probably a good place to have it for now, maybe. Well, actually, it wasn't really that much of a bother where it was, so I won't change it this time. Order -1 is still peaceful, but barely. But also more wealthy. Stefan's arrival. During lunch, Father tells you to stay home in the evening and prepare to meet some important guests. Your elder brother Stefan will return home by dinner tonight. Joining him will be your grandfather Volker Brante, as well as a noble friend of the family. You are excited about your brother's return. Well, not really, but it has been years since you last saw him. How's he changed during his years away from home? Well, I mean, considering the fact that his last letter was about how he's too important to be talking with commoners. I don't expect much out of him. Other than that, you and Father await the guests anxiously. The doorbell rings. 3 people are standing outside. Grandfather is the first to welcome them in. Sorry, to come in, naturally. He has not changed a bit since his last visit. Still eyeing the house with contempt, looking for any reason to demean it. Grandfather is followed by a stately young man dressed in a jacket embroidered in silver. You barely recognize as your brother. New haircut, I see. Stefan glances casts a glance at you, at your threadbare clothes, your dirty fingernails, and smirks. The last to enter this house is a personable gentleman with a worn-out, wrinkled face. You have heard a lot about this man from father and grandfather. He is Baron Augustine L. Born, Stefan's uncle, a family friend and the province's prefect, which means that he is the head judge and thus father's superior. Sir L. Born smiles lightly and offers you his hand. Oh. And this must be your younger son, Volker, yes? You have your father's eyes, young man. Oh, well, why, thank you. Father bows slightly to grandfather and Sir L. Born. But there is a moment of quiet when Stefan's turn comes. Father reaches out to him awkwardly, expecting an embrace. There's a question in Stefan's eyes as he looks at grandfather. The old man shakes his head almost imperceptibly. We noblemen oughtn't to put our emotions on public display, Father, not even after a lengthy separation. You always will be forever my second least favorite relative. There is no embrace. Instead, Stefan nods to Father curtly. He responds in kind, his face devoid of emotion. After the greeting, you proceed to the sitting room. Alborn is the first to enter. He kisses Mother's hand and Gloria's too, and tosses Nathan's hair after he sees him hiding by the table. Well, apparently some noble relatives seem to be okay with showing their emotions publicly. Monsieur Stefan! Grandfather acknowledges him with a glum nod. Greetings, Lydia Bronte. I remember you were kind to me when I was but a child. And you must be Nathan. You could barely walk when I last saw you last. Your older brother ignores Gloria completely, not even a greeting. You proceed to the dining room in a dignified manner and take your seats. The dishes smell delicious, but they merely punctuate the overwhelming tension of the table. Alborn is the only one with a friendly smile on his face. The dinner is splendid, Lydia. Did you choose the dish yourself? You have a truly refined palate. It warms my heart to know Stephen spent his early years with you. Womanly care always does a child good, no matter the estate. Your fork freezes in the air halfway to your mouth. You expect many things from a nobleman of the sort, but words of praise for a low-born woman are not one of them. You cast a glance at grandfather. It looks like he's about to choke on those words. It would do my grandson more good to stay in boarding school among his equals. Please, Gregor, parenting is no less important. Nothing can replace a mother's love, I cannot deny it. It saddened me greatly that my late sister could not be there to raise Stefan, but there was still a family for him, and he was surrounded by love. How could that be bad? And besides, his father was by his side all the while. A father's example is always the best. After all, Robert earned the judge's ring the same way you did. Your grandson will surely follow in your footsteps, and who knows, perhaps even the younger men of the Brante family will contribute to the... You clumsy, low-born cretin! Everybody is startled by a sudden outburst. Grandfather's face turns red. He's glaring at a young lady servant holding a pitcher over a glass. Stefan is sitting right next to her, dabbing a napkin on a fresh stain on his jacket. Begone this instant! The lady servant runs away, leaving the pitcher on the small table by the door. After a quiet moment, Elborn smiles again. It appears the servants have left us, yet dinner is far from over. Worry not, Uncle, there are enough commoners at this table to keep us served with food and drink. Stefan glares at Gloria across the table. She is sitting right next to you. She shrinks down and hunches under his gaze. Father furrows his brows. Mother covers her mouth with trembling hands. Grandfather sneers. Stefan's gaze does not move. The silence lasts far too long. Then she starts to rise from her chair. If the Bronte gentleman so wish it. Your hands clench into fists under the table. How can he bring himself to humiliate his own family, his own mother and sister like this? His own grandfather's student. Stefan could not even bring himself to embrace father without his permission. And yet they are noblemen and they have the right to act this way? If there's any way this dinner can become even more unbearable, you do not want to see it. You rise from your table and help your sister wait on your family. You, deliberate for a moment, then take the napkin off your lap and rise to join Gloria. A moment later, you hear the sound of another chair moving. Your mother joins you. The three of you now refill glasses and serve food and clear away dirty dishes. Sir Alborn tries to make small talk with father, but in vain, so he focuses his attention on grandfather and Stefan. Grandfather is pleased to inform him of Stefan's achievements at the boarding school, especially his exemplary sword-fighting skills. He constantly stresses the importance of your elder brother for the future of the family. You listen to him dispassionately as you continue serving new dishes to the table. As you wait on the nobleman's table, you, your sister, and your mother never bump into each other. Your labor is impeccable. Grandfather could not have found fault with it even if he tried. Your shoulders and back are aching, but being a manservant inside your own house hurts even more. When the guests finally leave, Mother and Gloria embrace you with relief. You did not neglect your relatives and share their humiliation. The composure that you have shown gave you new strength. Relations +1 with Gloria. Sympathy. Willpower +10! Ooh! Yay! I have that back! Alright. A dropped handkerchief. Hot, dry wind sweeps the city from the barren lands around it. The noble residents of Anizote prefer to remain in their chambers while the commoners huddle in tents or in the shade of the silver tree. You are on an errand right now. Your father wrote a letter to a noble acquaintance and you are to deliver it. Thomas, the boy down the street, is tagging along. The two of you are inseparable now. The errand is an easy one, so you decide to take this opportunity to loiter around the part of Anizote where the nobles live. So here you are, in the middle of the city square, resting on the ancient brickwork by the old fountain in the merciful shade of the gargantuan silver tree. Thomas is by your side, lazily slouching on the edge of the fountain's basin. It's a hard life for commoners like you and me. Either you break your back in a workshop day and night, hoping someone will buy your goods someday, or you become a manservant to some noble. You never get a chance to enjoy life. This is our lot, you remind him. We work and endure and suffer. But Thomas waves your words away. Yeah, I know that already. Mother keeps drilling that stuff into me. We must be humble. Our strength is patience and persistence. So yeah, I say, but I want to make my fortune no matter what. So how ain't that living by my lot, I ask you? But lots, they ain't easy. Let's take you for example. Brante, your father's a nobleman. But even if that didn't make you one, just look at your hands. You never had to work as hard as me. But we have the same lot, so we're supposed to suffer the same. Well, look at your father. He's a judge. He toils at the prefecture day and night doing his judging, and he's a noble. I've never seen an Arknian work as hard as he does. You shrug. The Arknians are a different race. race. The books say they were born to rule over humans. They are never commoners, always nobles of the sword by birth. They founded the Empire after subduing all the human kingdoms on the continent. Oh, I see. So the Archneans are basically just the people of the Empire of the original province, and the humans is literally just everyone else. Humans have the ability to advance their class, but Archneans will always be nobles. Humans will never be their equals. Archneans are always better, smarter, stronger, and their skin is a noble shade of blue. If the books are to be believed, of course. You have never seen one yourself. Your idle chatter is suddenly interrupted by a rugged-looking guardsman dressed in black and green. He chases you away from the fountain. Common rabble like you have no place here. You hear the clattering of hoofs and wheels against the cobblestones and see flags bearing a coat of arms, a sable serpent on a field of vert. It makes you squirm. It is the Arctic's coat of arms, the Melanidas dynasty. The carriage door opens, revealing a young lady in a luxurious dress. You cannot look away from her. Those dainty shoulders, suggested, but not revealed by the cut of her dress. Her black hair cascading over them. Her stately, slim silhouette. Her pouty lips and prim nose. And those eyes, dark like the night sky. The way she moves, fluidly, gracefully. And most incredible of all, her skin glows in azure blue. She is a masterpiece given life. She is an Archnean. Clear the way for me. The Melanidas guardsmen work quickly to clear the way to the fountain for the Archnean lady. The searing sun dances on her skin in bizarre patterns. With one elegant motion, she reveals a handkerchief, then leans over the basin and wipes her head and neck with its cool water. Oh, babe, that's Octavia Melanidas, our Archduke's own daughter. The Archnean turns away and proceeds gracefully back to her carriage. You see something slip out of her hand and fall into the cobblestone right next to you. Her handkerchief. It is right there by her feet. Intricate craftsmanship. Expensive woven fragments. Woven fabric. Delicately decorated with emerald filigree. Your heart skips a beat. Will you dare draw the beautiful Archnean's attention in order to return her lost possession? Or would you rather not attempt to cross the chasm between you and her? Just in time. You walk up to the Archnean lady to give her back the handkerchief she had dropped. It takes a moment to overcome your fear. You follow the young lady Melanidas and call out to her in a nervous voice. She turns around, her beautiful face marred by a puzzled expression. You extend the dropped handkerchief towards her. Lady Octavia's face contorts into a sneer. She signs to the guardsmen indifferently. I kind of expected that, really. The guardsman's gauntlet-clad hand slaps you in the face. It rings your head like a heavy bell. Your nose cracks obediently under the staggering force. The rest of you follow suit and you fall prone. You can discern the guardsman's voice through the painful din in your ears. Should I take the handkerchief back, lady? After a commoner's hands have befouled it, let him wipe himself with it for all I care. She remembers me. Young daughter of Tarquinius Melanidas, the Archduke of the Maghreb province. She is the embodiment of Archnean beauty and pride. You first laid eyes on her by a fountain in the golden square of Anisote, where she dropped a handkerchief there. She does. Oh, that is ouch. That's basically like having that high school crush, and it's like, hey, she remembers me. It's like, yeah, but she also slapped you right across the face, and doesn't even really give a fuck about you, so why do you care? I don't know. We'll see how this whole thing goes down. The carriage drives away. Thomas runs up to you and drags you back to the fountain. Your head is still ringing from the blow. The fateful handkerchief is still crumpled in your hands. The Archnean lady remembers you from the days of youth. And now I'm back to -5 willpower. Oh no, wait, I lost 5 willpower, but I am at 0. Matters of the heart. Oh, wow. This is where I find love. Okay, then. I find love with an Archnean noblewoman. You experience your first romantic feelings. Yeah, they slapped you right across the face for it, but okay. Whatever. What do I know? year is 1130. After the day you got bitch slapped by a god for trying to return a woman's handkerchief. Oh, wow. 12 years old now, you overhear an important conversation. It is a spring night and Mother has just sent everyone to bed. You walk past Father's study and hear voices coming from beyond the door. Grandfather is yelling and Father is replying quietly. The elder Brante men are fighting, arguing about the place of the commoners in the city. You sneak outside to avoid Mother's attention and hide next to the open window of the study. Perhaps they'll mention you too. That low-life idiot had the gall to pay me a visit and begged me for some service. He had the insolence to ask me outright. He thought I was going to support his claim for the chairman's seat in the lesser quorum. How dare he? Father, please listen. Mayor Egmont may be lowborn, but he carries quite a lot of clout in Malgrave. He owns 5 iron mines. A friend like him could be quite useful, should he become the chairman of lesser quorum. I don't give a damn who this Egmont is, Robert. Really? When you just happen to be the first to be a nobleman in your family, Gregor Brante? How is it that he ended up being such an asshole when he's only been the first noble born of his family? First generation nobleman of his family. And yet he's acting like this. I just fail to understand that kind of thing. His lot is humility and obedience. The likes of him can never rule anything. They're nothing but a flock of sheep that need a firm noble hand to guide them. I wasted so many years trying to quash that quorum decree, but that accursed Cornelius Tempest did everything in his power to make the Emperor sign that pathetic screed, and now even lowlifes can wield power. True power, Robert. Just the right to discuss the size of the Archduke's tax, nothing more. This is only the beginning. What's next? Are they going to arm the lowlifes now? Make them into judges? If the Empire rejects the foundation and the lots, the entire edifice will crumble. But who am I telling this to? It is already crumbling, and you, my son and heir, are a harbinger of its destruction. Well, Father, I'm begging you. I do not wish to marry a 3rd time. Lydia is a good wife and a dutiful mother to my children. If you would only allow her to. I will allow them nothing! Neither Egmont nor that freeloading wench of yours. What will you want me to do next? Live by the laws of the lowborn? I can already see where this is going, and I'd rather run my own sword through my gut than live in a country where nobles and lowlifes share the same rights. Okay. We've all been waiting for it. Go ahead and do it. I will not bat an eye. You might even catch me smiling. You might. It will be the only time you see me smile in anything involving you. It might be the widest smile you have ever seen me bear at all concerning you and your fate. Just saying. My only dream is to see the name of Brante in the Blue Book, but that dream will never come true. No one ever call me Venerable El Brante, and it's all because of this marriage of yours. My only hope now is to hear Stefan address in such a manner one day. Thank the twins I didn't let you ruin the boy. He's about to grow up a true nobleman. His children will bear the name of El Brante. You'll have 2 more grandsons. Those spineless milksops from the common lot. They're incapable of anything. The best your middle son can do is sneak into the Imperial College and get ennobled by the mantle. Although I have great doubts about even that. As for that downtrodden Nathan, I hold out no hope for him whatsoever. You hear Grandfather's heavy footsteps, the thudding of his cane and the slamming of the door. It's time to sneak back home before you're discovered. Got some power, eh? Current balance of power in Magra, and who rules the province? Overseer of power. School begins. You started studying at school of Sir Tibur and began to master the sciences. As storm of expectations. Finally, the day comes when the teachers stop coming to the house, but before you can breathe a sigh of relief and put away the books, Father asks you to come to his study. You've grown, my son. It's time for you to continue your education away from home. I've chosen a deserving school for you. It's a Tibus school for the children of noblemen and well-off commoners. Naturally, it is not a boarding school for nobles, so you will study there during the day and come home in the evening. You share the news with your best friend, Thomas. It's a Tibus school, eh? Yeah, I gotta ask my parents to send me there too as soon as they get the coin together. Father says his workshop is stored day and night for years to save up for my education. The school is based in an ancient estate of Archnean design. The classrooms are tall and spacious with massive benches. The sounds of scraping quills and lectures on history and imperial law and theology echo under the vaulted ceilings. The rules are strict, the lessons are tiring. Restless Thomas keeps getting distracted, and several times he gets his hand slapped with a stick for it. Every teacher demands flawless mastery of their subject. Every day Father asks you about your studies. You've already told him twice about how Magra joined the Empire and how the nobles' court of honor is different from the commoners' civil court in the city prefecture. But Father keeps pressuring you to work even harder. When it is time to go to bed, Mother will not let you go to sleep until you recite a newly learned prayer for her. And when it is time to go to school, you promise her every day that you will behave with great humility and steer clear of insolent behavior of any kind. For you still live by the commoner's lot, and that lot is hard work and suffering. Your first month in school draws to a close, and the teachers announce that there will be exams at the end of the month to determine the best and the worst students in each subject. Father insists that you devote all your spare time to studying law and history if you wish to follow in his footsteps. But when you speak to Mother every day, you start considering theology. You still remember the revelation, divine visions that came to you in your earliest years. You have only one more day until the exam. You have locked yourself away in your room. It is already getting late. Your desk is covered with handwritten notes, surrounded by leather-bound books. Just looking at them makes you queasy. But you have read through all of them again, at least for one of your subjects. There is a nagging thought in your mind. Thomas ended up in big trouble the other day. He got in a fight with several boys who lived next street. They heard about your wooden fortress and got in an outrage by the fortification built by commoners. They swore to dismantle it tonight. Thomas swore he would defend the fortress until the end. Perhaps you should abandon the books to rescue the friend in need. But then you hear your little brother Nathan knocking at the door. He stands there shyly, not saying a word. He often does that, standing still and staying speechless until either you speak first or he runs away. But this time he actually says something. The door is locked. Are you okay, Volker? Is there anything I can do to help? Your head is spinning. This is the last evening before the school exam. If you fail, your family will be very disappointed. You have to refresh your memory on law or theology, either one or the other. But Thomas and your fort are about to be stormed. By today of all days. You grind your teeth in rage at the thought. Nathan is by the door trying not to bother you. He wants to help you the only way he can for reasons known only to him. But you accept his help. Well, I'm gonna get some hate for this, but you intently study the books on the secular sciences. You push Nathan out of the room. He cannot possibly help you prepare for the exam. Wait, hold on. You didn't need to push him out of the room. Just say, like, I'm a little busy with studies, not push him out of the room. What the hell? Soon your eyes start to hurt from all the legal terms and chronologies and titles of imperial edicts. You repeat everything, every single line of it, until your head hurts and your vision begins to blur. When Father walks in, he chuckles in approval. You fall asleep right there amidst the books. The morning comes and you barely have the time to wake up before you walk to the menacing edifice of the school. Time for law. All the students sit still, glued to their benches in terror. The teacher's voice singles you out. If a commoner insults a nobleman's honor, how ought he be dealt with according to imperial law? Bring the commoner to the prefecture where the judge will sentence him to corporal punishment. And what if a noble takes a commoner's life by negligence or whim? The noble is fined by the provincial authorities. Surprising even yourself, you give the correct answers to these questions and the many more that follow. The next subject is the history of the Blessed Archean Empire. You masterfully recount the history of every province as they merge with the Empire, from Monia to Magra. Then you recite the names of every tempest who has ruled the empire. You conquer every question the teacher asks you without confusing a single date. You get the highest grade in law and history, and an average grade in theology. You relay the teacher's praise to Father over dinner. He smiles, pleased with you. Well done, my son. I can see how hard you have been working. Keep at it and you will be among the Empire's greatest servants. I am proud of you. Nobility +1. I am unprincipled, but that may change, we shall see. I'm surprised I didn't get any hate from Nathan or Thomas. But anyway, I think this is a very fine place to end the video. Got some nobility education done very well, if I do say so myself. And I think we will end the video here, so I hope you all enjoyed this video. Give the like button a star if you did. Subscribe if you want more Death in Your Life. Be sure the bell is tolling for thee. Until next time, rest in peace. Bye! Enjoyed today's video? Well, there's plenty more for you to enjoy here. And if you also want to support this small channel, then there is also my Ko-fi, which is available, as well as a Twitter thread that gives you my commissioning info. And if you'd like some traditional art or literature, feel free to DM me on Twitter. Thank you for enjoying the video and for your viewership.